Alright, hey guys, for this video I'm going to talk about 5 things I hate about the Omega Speedmaster. This is a really hard video to do. You know, there are not many things that I dislike about it, but it's not a perfect watch, right? For me, I live in the Pacific Northwest. It's a very wet climate. It rains a lot and it's just wet, and wet and the Speedmaster, especially a vintage Speedmaster, do not go well together. As you can see, the chrono hand on my watch has kind of flicked off, and that's usually because of moisture damage. It just, it gets wet, it hardens again, and it just kind of falls off during service. And yeah, that's just what I really don't like about it, is that it's not waterproof, and therefore it's not a Rolex. I hate to say it, but if it were a Rolex, this would be waterproof, right? Plain and simple, right? Rolex would waterproof this watch, right? They would probably put screw down crowns and just make sure that this thing was airtight, and that's what I really I really dislike about it, right? And that's really what sets Rolex apart. That's what sets the Speedmaster, that's what sets the Daytona apart from the Speedmaster. Of course, in terms of the watch being an icon, this is a bigger icon than the Daytona. However, in terms of build quality and innovation, for Rolex to have come up with a waterproof chronograph back in the day is truly a remarkable feat, and it's and that's why the Speedmaster, even though it's more iconic, but in terms of the watch, objectively, it will always be second to the Daytona, right? Yeah. So number 3, the other thing I don't like about it is the bracelet that come with this was a 1039 bracelet, I believe, and the thing kind of stretches out, so over time, they just feel cheap and flimsy, right? For those people who complain about Rolex having tinny bracelets, wow, I mean, those bracelets will appear like a tank compared to the original bracelets that came with these vintage Speedmasters, because they just stretch and they just so loose, they don't even look good, and therefore, I think for these models, for all the straight lug Omega Speedmasters, they really look best on a leather strap, on a distressed vintage leather strap, like the one I have on here. It really is, it's it's okay. So there are ways around it, right? Anyway, I bought this watch head only, and not interested in putting the bracelet on anyway. I mean, it's not a waterproof watch, so it really doesn't need a bracelet. So yeah, that would be number 3. And number 4 thing I don't like about this watch is, like I said, it's not a Rolex, right? It doesn't have the same. I say it has equivalent quality compared to Rolexes of that era, of that age. They're about the same, I have to say. But it's still not a Rolex. It's not waterproof. It doesn't have the same image, for good and for bad. Right. And number 5, the other thing I don't like about this is, well, because I have it now, it's not an issue, but for people who want to buy this watch, it's expensive. I think dealers would be asking for upwards of 7,500 US for a watch like this. Yeah, it's expensive, right? There's no way around it. These things are very rare. Straight lugs, 3-to-1 movement, raised logo, even the chrono hand, right? The chrono hands is also different. It kind of almost looks like a feather arrow, like an arrow, right? Anyway, those are the 5 things I dislike about the Speedmaster at white. Thank you.